Alrighty, fans, welcome to Sports Chat. Finally got some sports rolling on again. The Oak Ridge Relays were this weekend, and both Dawson children had good days. Bryce had quite the day at the long jump, as did her brother Dakota, who also had a good day at the pole vault.
Yeah, Bryce, she's going to be a big-time star up at Campbell. You know, I hate to put any pressure on it. And it'll be hard for anybody to ever live up to the Kristen Chapman standard of just absolute excellence in her field and winning 3 state championships. But I've got a feeling Bryce may compete for state championships in a few events before her career's over at Campbell County.
Yeah, she's a heck of a sprinter. Is often used on the short distance relays.
Yeah. She's recently took up the hurdles. She had talked to her about the hurdles before, and she was a little reluctant, said she hadn't done them before, but she did the hurdles, and apparently did pretty well with the hurdles recently. So I think that, the sky's the limit for her, and for some of the other track aides. Rachel Nelson does really well with her track exploits.
Of course, this being the relays, you didn't see a lot of the usual events.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have any of the short races at the Oak Ridge Relays.
Right. I mean, this was literally almost 100% relays and your field events. Of course, Rusty Province had a dominating day.
Well, I'm sure he's going to win another title.
His cousin Michaela Smith, run for Campbell County, didn't have a terrible day. She placed in the top 10 in both shot put and discus.
Well, last year she was Campbell County's participant in the state meet in the field event, and she'll probably be back there again this year. She's not built like a typical thrower. Not, they're usually pretty big guys and girls both.
And she's a tiny little thing.
She's not very very big, but she's packed some power in her frame. Can really launch it out there. I think Josh Lasley's throwing on the boys' side.
Yeah, Josh actually had a good day throwing. That's one thing about the relays. That's one of those times that you actually occasionally will see some of the Oak Ridge A team make an appearance.
In those throwing events, Rusty is going to win them in East Tennessee this year if he's in it. I mean, last year we were there watching. He put the shot completely out of the pit at Oak Ridge.
I've never seen that done at a high school event.
The pit's 60 feet, and they usually you're usually going to be in the low 40s in your winter, maybe around 50 if it's a particularly good throw. But if he threw it completely out of the pit last year down there. And he may have again this year. We didn't get to go to this event this year, but it's just he's a beast, and he's going to Wake Forest on the track.
He threw the discus, I want to say 172. I looked at it. I looked it up before he came here on the Tennessee Runners side. He threw the discus 172 feet, I believe.
Yeah, and he was in the
that's not his personal record
last year mostly, and I seem like I recall him having a 180-foot throw at some point in his career. But winners in those events are usually around 130 feet, 135 feet. So he's out throwing the competition by a lot. And so any event that he's in, you're almost just going for second. It was like Kristen Chapman in the high jump. I mean, all those people in the high jump against her were going for second place at 90% of the meets she was at. She was usually going to win that event.
Also in Cougar sporting news, the baseball Cougars picked up a big district win against Oak Ridge the other day.
It's always good to be able to beat Oak Ridge in any sport. Never easy.
Andrew Evans, not the football player Andrew Evans, but the baseball. They are two different people, and he's just a junior. Was the winning pitcher against Oak Ridge and pitched a great game.
I'm excited he's back for the baseball team. I mean, we did get excited at one point because Carly thought that it was
football Andrew Evans.
Football Andrew Evans, who was a junior. I thought, well, I didn't think we were getting Andrew back for another year on the football team. That's great, but it is baseball Andrew Evans, and he's a very good pitcher, as Patrick pointed out. He's a good player overall.
I mean, it's always huge when you get a win over the Wildcats.
And Coach Brownie took over this year, and I think he's going to do good things with the baseball program. It'll be his sole focus now that he retired from the girls' basketball. He's one of the most successful girls' coaches we've ever had. He and I guess Paul Green are two of the most successful coaches that the ladies had. I think Paul was the coach when they went to the state championship.
No, that was Sherry's first year, but it was Paul's teams. Paul gave up coaching. Sherry took over, and not taking anything away from Sherry because she really helped to bring their game up. But Paul was a heck of a coach.
That was back when we were in high school, so I didn't have a clear memory of Sherry quite being there, but I guess Sherry may have been a.
It was literally her first year.
It's still very successful. The girls basketball program has been pretty successful at Campbell County over the years, and hopefully the replacement coach will come in and be able to build on the success that the other ones have had before and keep that going. Now, the coach of the year right now for the Cougars in the spring is going to be Shane Wolfenbarger.
Oh yeah, the Cougar soccer's still undefeated. They sadly still haven't played a home game because of that cancellation, but they've got one coming up.
Had some bad weather days coming out, and that's the nature of spring weather. It may be thunderstorming, it may be sunny, it may rain, it may snow all on the same day these days, and it just happened to have affected some of the Cougar sporting events here. Got some good softball action in. I mean, it was a rough day for the girls on the softball front.
Those videos are actually online right now. They played Anderson County, and then they turned around and played Carnes. But those girls work hard.
And Carnes, really good team every year. Very good district. Apparently Gibbs is ranked in the top 20 in the nation in softball. So that's.
And Halls is almost as good as Gibbs. It actually is beating Gibbs.
It's a tough district to be in, and they're struggling along right now. Hopefully things get better for them. I mean, they do put in lots of effort. Don't have a big team this year. Hopefully they can get some more people to participate in the future on the team. But they go out and give it their all. They're playing every day, so I support them, and we go up there and watch them. It's always fun to see them out there playing. Watch Caitlin make a few big catches, and Bama make some good plays at third. She should be a Tennessee fan now, but probably still a Bama fan.
I'm sure she is. That stuff gets ingrained in them.
But
we'll try not to hold it against her too much, though.
But yeah, good Cougar sports. We're going to get to the first soccer game we can when they're up here, and hopefully they can win that. What are they, 5-0 or 6-0 now?
They're 5-0 as far as I know.
And it's been pretty good matches. I mean, pretty good beatings. They're scoring 4 and 5 goals a game, it seems like, and winning 4 and 5 to 1. So it's hard to beat that and get soccer and get them actually scoring goals. It's double-edged, double good stuff, and that's a Shane doing a good job. Going to be looking at a Coach of the Year award from the Volunteer Times.
He really is. I mean, the girls had a decent start. I mean, Shane obviously there were some people that said, "I can't believe they hired that guy. I mean, what's he ever done? He's just a resource officer." I'm like, well, he's obviously doing something right. Of course, there's always going to be somebody negative.
Well, Shane knows soccer. I mean,
yeah,
he played soccer and knows about soccer, and obviously his teaching works. And for him to take that much on, in addition to being a resource officer and a road officer, he's doing a darn fine job.
Yeah, it just really irks me. There's always those people. It's like, well, he just got appointed as a political favor. Well, obviously not, because his body of work stands on its own.
Well, you often attract some of the lower intelligences.
I was going to say some of the bigger idiots.
Yes.
Yeah, you can get on my Facebook statuses and you can see some doozies.
There's some semi-literates on there occasionally. Usually the ones who are complaining and
breathing through their mouth,
spelling every word wrong, complaining about everything, that no matter what it is. You could the Cougars could win the state title and someone would be on there complaining about something.
Oh yeah.
But that's about it for the local sports scene. Go up a notch. I mean, it's nightmarish. Continues as Kentucky wins again on another last-second shot, and probably playing for the national championship. You will know when you see this whether they won the national title or not. I mean, they're going to play tonight. As far as us sitting here, I have to hope they don't. Maybe Calipari will get hit by a car. The team will get mauled by a grizzly bear.
Maybe Gino will come coach the men's team and bring some of his giant women with him.
Whatever it takes. I hope Kentucky's lost when you're hearing this, and that some scandals has been exposed in Lexington that gets them put on the death penalty. I hate Kentucky. I dropped my Reds fandom today after seeing that they had posted a big blue hat.
You've been a Reds fan forever.
Oh, I've been a Reds fan since I was a little child. I used to listen to them on 700 WLW at nights when it would come in over the AM airwaves. I would shoot baskets in my yard. I was 8 or 9 years old. Shoot baskets in my yard, and man had a 1965 Fairlane. Had only an AM radio. You could turn on 700 and listen to the Reds games. It would be Johnny Bench, Pete Rose, George Foster, Tom Seaver, a bunch of guys like that. Tony Perez. Guy. That's what I grew up, and always been a Reds fan. And in high school, it was the Nasty Boys and, you know, dominating pitching. And Tom Browning broke his arm with a terrible pitch. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Remember that?
I've never seen anybody before him throwing the ball and their arm just snapped
Yeah.
off while he was throwing it. That was probably happened to Burton if he was a pitcher. His general tendency for injury. But yeah, Reds fan all my life, but I am not going to tolerate someone putting a big blue hat up on the screen and saying, go Big Blue. That don't roll with me. And I let them know about it on Twitter, and their marketing director tweeted me back and said it was only a publicity and that they were just wanting to wish the teams in their area good luck. That doesn't cut bait with me. If you like Kentucky and you're going to put a blue hat out there, you're going to lose.
You ever seen them supporting Ohio State?
Well, I would not like it if they supported Ohio State, but I can understand it. Or Xavier, which is in Cincinnati, and I was also in
or even the Bearcats, if they were doing
and
something.
Cincinnati was also in the tournament. But regardless, you don't change your team color to match another team. And I pointed out to the woman that the UK may have a lot of fans, but they're the most hated team too, because those fans are generally arrogant jackals for the most part. And there's a few good ones. I really love Gretchen up here at the high school, but she's misguided. I have a cousin who's a big UK fan. Don't really like her though. But you got to cheer for Kentucky. I mean, the heck with you. I'd be the same if they tweeted about Alabama. I would be done with it. And just don't like it. Give up my fanship. It's going to be that way. Maybe they'll fire that marketing director and try to win me back. I still don't know if I would or not, because someone approved them printing those blue hats up.
You can always go to cheer for the Cubs.
Yeah, that's a hard lot in life when you pick the Cubs as your team. Burton and I were talking about earlier. The Cubs are already, I think he said, 2-5. So looking like they may be out of contention before April ends at this point, unless they can get on a winning streak. He said he at least usually had hope until June. But, it's impressively early for the Cubs to be going into the tank right now. Maybe they can turn it around. Probably not. Even if they did turn it around, something strange would happen as they approach the World Series, as it always does for them. And I'll say this, I'm not kidding about my fanship and everything with Cincinnati. If they win the World Series, you won't see me bragging about it or hear me saying anything about it. I'm done. That was enough for me.
And now let's go to the most inexplicably biggest story in sports this week. The streak ended last night at WrestleMania when Brock Lesnar pinned The Undertaker.
Yeah, I assumed that it was storyline. I can't imagine it wasn't. But they did say The Undertaker had a severe concussion at the end of the match. Maybe Lesnar took advantage of it and jumped on him. I don't know. You never know with WWE.
But the crazy part is just the fan reaction to all of it. I mean, it is just open mouthed.
Oh, they said you could hear a pin drop
Yeah.
in the arena. It's all pointless to me. I mean, most of the WWE stuff that they do nowadays is pretty much pointless. But if you're going to end that streak, end it with somebody who's actually going to be wrestling for you every week, week in, week out, and going to be your face of your promotion. I mean, I don't think Brock Lesnar is going to be the face of the WWE for the next 10 years.
No.
Apparently his contract expires next year, or very soon later, maybe even later this year. And he's already said he's going back to UCW. I mean, not UCW, UFC. So the guy comes in, wrestles one or two events. Actually has maybe, probably no more than 10, 12 matches.
Oh,
a year,
yeah. He's probably a Madison Square Garden, one Raw a month, one pay-per-view a month kind of guy. Comes out, maybe makes an appearance the rest of the time.
Yeah, I mean, he's not your guy that's out there on the road 300 days a year like Randy Orton or somebody like that who actually could be the face of your franchise if you would put him up there. I mean, I can understand not letting Undertaker lose to HBK, because HBK was on his way out too, and I can understand not wanting to lose to
Triple H. Same thing.
Yeah, Triple H, he's on his way out. Now, I wish if we're going to end the streak, then they probably should have let it go to Edge, but Edge ended up getting injured and not being able to compete further anyway. But you got to give it to somebody, a Daniel Bryan, an Orton, somebody you want to push and be the face of your franchise for the next 10 years. And I just can't see that being Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has really not very good speaking skills in front of a microphone.
No, I mean, they literally basically had to bring Paul Heyman in to be his manager.
I just don't. I don't see why they would do it. If they did, I would think that they would have, but Vince is known for lots of shenanigans. I'd heard that Undertaker had creative control of the match. I don't know if that's true or not. And I don't know why they would decide, hey, I'm going to, all these wrestling legends I beat, let's just go ahead and lose to you, Brock.
But it was, like I said, my phone didn't stop last night with this. I mean, I was just flabbergasted by it.
To me, the WWF, whatever you want to call it, it's degraded to the point now anyway. I thought that WrestleMania was last night. I mean, the good Dr. Scott invited me to watch a few days ago, but I'd honestly forgotten it was going to be last night, so I ended up not going to watch it anyway. I've read reviews of it. Most of the reviews I've read said every match was bad except for the Battle Royal. Patrick said that he thought that a couple other matches were okay.
But not WrestleMania.
I mean, main event Raw level matches, and that's just all you get out of it nowadays. It's worthless. And WWE took a big hit in their stock prices today. They were expected to sell 1 million, 1.2 million subscriptions on the eve of WrestleMania to their new service, and only sold about 600,000. So the stock price dropped from $28 into $20, I believe it was. That's a pretty big hit, pretty significant hit in your stock price when it drops down 25%, 30% on a day, and you know, if you don't improve your product, that's what you're going to get. You got a bad product right now.
Right. I mean, you're killing yourself, shooting yourself in the foot, and it's like they can't see the problem.
Vince is going to put this investment in. He's going to start a network. You're going to have this much coverage for it and this much time to fill on the network. You got 24 hours a day to fill on this network. I'm not sure what the program is right now, but with 24 hours a day and you're putting out 4 hours a week, maybe 6 hours a week at most.
When you count their NXT stuff that's only available on the network and all that, they're putting out in the Legends house, they're going to do maybe 8 hours a day worth of, maybe 8 hours a week worth of programming.
You got 8 hours a week worth of original programming. Most of the classic stuff is just going to be on-demand availability. Break it up, make some regions. You got billions of dollars, Vince McMahon. Bring back some regional wrestling. Have regional wrestling on it. Bring back a Mid-South. Bring back a Southeast. You know, make some territories. It's not going to hurt you to have a half a dozen territories and have an original hour every week for them. I would watch Kevin Sullivan hosted Florida wrestling every week when I was a kid. I watched, of course, Gordon Soley hosting Continental wrestling and later Southeastern wrestling when I was a kid.
When Fox 43 first came on the air, they had every night at 11 o'clock they had some sort of wrestling come on. Granted, one of those hours I'm pretty sure was Glow, but
I watch Glow every week.
And they had Central States Wrestling out of Illinois, in that general area. They had the tertiary WCW, NWA type show.
Here's every day basically. There was an hour of AWA wrestling on ESPN.
An hour of world class wrestling on ESPN.
The WWF. It had 2 hours on primetime on USA. There was an hour on every Saturday evening. It was obviously pre-tape, but every Saturday evening at 7 to 8 o'clock. It seemed like this came on Channel 10 because it was before I had cable.
There was an hour every Sunday on USA, All American Wrestling. And on Wednesday, they had their Tonight Show like talk show, TNT.
Yeah. From 11 p.m. till basically 1 p.m. in the afternoon on Saturdays, you had Continental or maybe some other promotion. Like I said, Kevin Sullivan was on it around midnight with his own show out of Florida. And there was just, the AWA had its hour show. The Mid-South had its shows all around the Memphis area and other places. I think Texas had a big promotion.
That was world class, yeah.
And if I recall, there was one in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. That's where Roddy Piper originally got his start.
And you could make a lot of original program if you broke it back up into regions. Don't let the regions touch. Don't let them cross over. And there's got to be enough talent out there somewhere somebody could find it. And I can't believe that the ability to speak in front of a microphone is completely gone for everybody.
Well, I mean,
if they do, bring a manager in, make a good manager. A lot
well,
of
I
people
mean,
didn't have it.
take that show we did in town for cancer. And granted, we had a match on that show that was so bad it was the featured match on World Famous Flea Market. But we also had Shawn Schultz versus Shane Andrews, which was good enough to open for TNA when they were in Knoxville.
But if you just put a regional program back out, a regional promotion back out, I think that it would be good. Unless WWE has just pushed wrestling so far out of what it used to be and out of the comfort zone and out of the likability zone for so many people that wrestling may never recover fully from it. And, first off, WWE, make it wrestling again instead of entertainment. And that's the biggest issue that you have. I mean, that you drop managers. Paul Heyman occasionally will trot out for someone who apparently, like Lesnar, can't speak. That's about it for managers. Used to, everybody had a manager.
Oh, yeah.
Half the people.
If you were a heel, you had a manager.
It don't matter. Nobody could speak in this industry, in the history of this industry. Nobody could ever speak better than Ric Flair. Ric Flair had J.J. Dillon for a long time.
Well, I mean, nobody ever knew how good of a speaker King Kong Bundy really was because he always had Heenan.
Yeah, I mean.
And Bundy's brilliant.
Yeah, but I mean, Heenan's the best who ever was. I mean, I pointed out on one of his Facebook statuses today that the wrestling misses Heenan more than it misses anybody else, in my opinion. I mean, no one can speak like Heenan could speak. It's from the heel perspective. His commentary was sparkling, spot on. I mean, anytime Heenan was in front of a camera, something great happened, no matter what he was doing. And there's nobody like that now. They're still wrestlers. There are always going to be wrestlers, and some of them can speak, and some of them are charismatic, even though I don't know what CM Punk's status is. He was one of the best there was. Edge was one of the best there was, and of course we discussed what happened with him and being out, but there's just no one else who can speak. There's no. I don't care about any of the commentators now. They don't matter to me at all.
No.
It was must-watch TV just to see the banner between Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon on primetime.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they could put on the worst matches you could find.
Oh, yeah, they put on terrible matches. It'd be like Sal Mineo versus the Brooklyn Brawler.
Yeah.
Would be the match it would be on, but it didn't matter because Heenan was out here and him and Gorilla were out here doing something, looking for Andre the Giant's wooden fortress where he was training. And Gorilla just laid the banana peels down to find their way around. They were just walking in a circle because Heenan kept taking them in circles. But just stuff like that was brilliant. They don't do anything like that anymore. J.J. Dillon hiding in Ric Flair's hotel room. And I was going to crack up over that one.
That was good TV. I mean, it really was. And that's what it got away from. That's what it will probably never be again. And that's why I find the current product unwatchable.
The core base, they took it and crapped on it. And it just got worse and worse and further away from it. And that's why, you are where you are now.
I mean, there was at one point a storyline, and it was probably the third or fourth running storyline of the company. There was a feud between Mick Foley and DDP, where Foley had a head injury and became a homeless man. And they were just following him around, and that was better than anything they're putting on.
Oh, yeah, the third and fourth angles. I mean, people remember angles from the 80s as being these great super angles, but a lot of them were just the third, fourth, fifth level angle that was going that particular week. I mean, when your roster is like Macho Man and Hogan and, Ultimate Warrior and Andre, Big John Studd, Bundy, Piper, you can have 5 different people doing 5 different angles and they're all going to be good. Mr. Perfect.
Like I was watching that Mid-South TV. They talked about what a just charismatic, huge star. How he could just control the crowd, how JYD was. Junkyard Dog was like the number 5 good guy under Hogan.
Yeah.
And still had just compelling stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Snuka. Everybody loves Snuka. Everybody loved JYD. George the Animal Steel. He had a character that was made to not speak. And had better storylines than they have now.
Yeah.
And you put him out there, and somehow John Cena looks even worse by comparison against George the Animal Steele, whose main claim to fame was a green tongue and back hair. And he loved to eat termites.
He was one of my heroes. I always wanted hair like that.
You got it. Bald on top, hairy on the back, and eats strange things. It makes much more sense now, but your life, but he's one of your heroes.
Oh, well, fans, I believe that's about all we have in the world of sports this week. We'll be back next week with some more exciting Cougar action, and who knows what else. We'll see you then.